Your show's rubbish.
Oh yeah. Well, cheers, mate.
Did we start?
Cheers,
When I said that? Oh my
Charles.
God,
Cheers. I hope you
Chin.
hear that, everyone.
Now we don't usually get to clink glasses together, do we? Because we're over Zoom.
Well, I do sometimes drink when I am
no,
doing
but
Zoom.
with us,
No, of course.
we don't clink.
And that's why we're in it's a beautiful sunny day here in Brighton Town, city centre. We are at the Black Lion pub.
It's cold.
I don't
It's
think
not
it's
too
that cold.
I had my t-shirt
But it's
on,
big coat weather. You're in I'm in a scarf. You're in a big.
Got a purple shirt. I
Yeah,
thought that's a bit different.
got a bit of a scabby nose as well, I've noticed.
This is
You've
for
got-
special occasion. Well, you know, I can't help my skin conditions.
You got leprosy, and a bit of my
Well,
my nose
come
fell
and-
out in my wine.
Come and lick you later.
Oh, how are you?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you?
Must be nice to see me as well.
It is nice. Yeah. It's not. It's not brilliant.
No.
It's not great. It's not good. But it's like better than bad.
It should be.
It's something better than rubbish.
Cheers.
No,
Yes,
it's good
I mean
to see
that.
you. No, it's good to see
You
you.
too.
I just could answer that. It's good to see you, mate. It's been ages. I
It
mean,
has
the
been
last time we
ages.
saw each other, I think, was over a year ago, because it
Yeah.
was like in October 2020.
Oh, has
when
the
all
world
restrictions-
changed?
Oh, it
Has
hasn't changed.
Topical.
Not
That
really.
sort of-
Not really. No.
It hasn't changed at
Poor
all.
observations weekly performed.
Which is coming up in today's show.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us. I'm really excited about this show, and I told you why. I have a suspicion and just a hunch that this might be my favourite show
You
of
said
all
that to
time.
me. Text me that. I'm surprised at that. It surprises me, but it is a very good one.
It is a
For
very
me,
good
it's
one.
good. But best show ever?
I think so.
I'd be no, it's for you. It's a show of opinions, mate. So we can disagree. It's all right. It's good. We can disagree. No, but I don't think it would be my favourite, but it's good. It's up there. Top 10.
So-
And also, Mars said also he's excited because he's got a couple of little stories.
I've got a
so
couple
you're
of
about
funny
to hear a couple of little
couple of
funny stories, all right?
So, story one.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so I've lost 500 quid on my holiday.
Oh yeah,
Which is
I
deeply
know.
hilarious.
Well, I tried to get you out of that.
You
didn't
did
I?
actually.
But
So
I didn't.
anyway, I was meant to go to Seoul in South Korea to see little funny hairy Korean fellas in one of those shit little books that I read, and
Can't say that. Can't say that.
and so anyway, we put it on hold for a year. And then we had to wait another year because we were just like, can't be dealing with these restrictions. We requested a refund from a company called emailflights.com.
Yeah,
A name that doesn't fill you with automatic confidence, does it?
Yeah, it's like I don't know, text hotels or something. It's just a minute.
Anyway, I'm feeling a little bit raw today. I've lost 500 quid, much like Steve and the taxi caper. Gary, what I'm saying to you, do you want to split that? Or what?
I don't want to spit that actually, but what you didn't say is they basically the company had been liquidated. You found out through other message boards. The company had been liquidated.
Well,
in the middle of
I'd
having
ask
this
Gary because Gary used to work in finance or fraud or something like that. So you're quite good at getting money back.
I got it for our trip in Edinburgh. I got all the
Edinburgh,
money
yeah.
back,
So you're quite good at this, but you didn't get the money back this time.
No,
so
I couldn't get through to them. If
No.
I got through to them, even if they're liquidated, they would have spent their last 100 quid paying you something back. Trust me, I would have got it back.
But much
couldn't get
funny.
through.
So, but it's okay because we're having a little drink, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, so it's sort of like when someone's ill and they want sympathy. It's Mars is starting with that, so it's kind of ingratiate.
Join us on Patreon, by the way.
Yeah,
because
we
that
do
money
need
will
it.
definitely be going towards safeguarding the podcast.
But do join us on Patreon.
That would be nice. The second anecdote
Bonus
that I've
shows.
got, the second anecdote is so my sister, her best friend's brother, he was in prison.
Oh, yeah,
he's in
he's-
prison
yeah.
because he I don't know why he had guns in Ipswich. Now just think of that for a moment, having guns in a little sleepy Suffolk town.
He did have one of the biggest serial killers was he was 5,
Yeah.
but still got Steve Wright. I remember he's from Ipswich, so you do get a lot of
Centre of crime.
Only prostitutes, though. No, I'm joking. Please don't put that. Don't put that out. Or
Yeah.
put that out, but with this
Yeah,
as well, addendum.
yeah,
But yeah, the guns is oh yeah. I sorry, I was tapping on the table. Guns are automatically a 5-year sentence for possession. Automatically.
How do you know that?
The judge can't deviate from that. He can only increase it. I
Yeah.
do know because knives 2 years.
Is that an AK-47 in your pocket
It's-
or what?
No, it's a big, is that a big?
It's a lighter.
No, it's just a little handgun.
Yeah.
You've
got to be safe, haven't
Shelby
you?
handgun. From,
Anyway, so he was just about to be released from prison for this crime, And
where I will say, just to follow up, he could have ordered as many Chinese as he wanted. What happened? When he was released?
He got his mate to order a Chinese into prison via drone. It's just...
How do they time it like with the... I mean, he must have had a mobile phone on him as well. That's another breach.
The funniest thing is when my sister was telling me this anecdote, right? She came up from the perspective that it was a live order to Deliveroo. So the Deliveroo driver's going, and what's your address, sir? Her Majesty's Royal Prison, Ipswich. Okay, cool. And your room, sir? And so you got a little Deliveroo fella handling a drone with some chow mein and some prawn balls.
Surely they don't do that. This sounds like a hypocritical tale.
I think it's a
Did this
hypocritical
really
tale,
happen?
which are coming up later.
But did it happen?
This
Are you
100%
sure?
happened, and he
Okay.
got his tenancy
Yeah,
extended, not tenancy.
Tenancy. Well, it's probably cheaper than what we
probably
pay.
was.
But you only serve half your sentence, whatever it is. So you're allowed to then. That's how you give like punishments for stuff like that. You say, well, you half your sentence. We're going to release you. You can't add sentence on for something like that, but you can say instead of half your sentence, you're going to have to serve a bit more.
Well, I think the judge officially said, if you give me one of those spring rolls, I'll bring it down to a month, and you can stay.
That's justice. Justice.
And can we get some hoisin sauce as well, please?
Yeah, that's me. It's me.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about frivolous anecdotes like that.
Well, I've got a little... It's
Oh,
not an
do
anecdote,
you?
but
Bloody hell.
I've got something in my bag, and I just wondered if you could guess what it is. Basically, had we not met, I'd still have gone to Sainsbury's. I went to Sainsbury's
Okay.
on the way. So one thing I ran out of, it's the only thing, I would have gone as a whole single trip just to get this,
Right.
and nothing else. Can you guess what it is?
Hummus
What would
or
I have liked to run? No, not hummus.
a full economy pack of condoms for all that sex that you're not having?
No, that's not true. That's not. Any other guesses?
I don't know.
I can't live without.
Is it food or perishable?
It perishes.
Is it crisps?
No, it's not crisps. I got them by the box
Is it?
load.
I was going to say Pringles because that's coming up, isn't it?
That's coming up.
Oh, you got a lemon.
It's a lemon.
A little one lemon.
One lemon, and I went to the
You're a very
supermarket just
citrusy
for a lemon.
character, aren't you?
That's all I got. Oh, I got a thing of soap as
And
well.
that's your weekly shop done.
That's my weekly shop because I order everything on Amazon now. There's a little game. Probably won't repeat that any other subsequent shows.
Anyway, this is the D-Trout Spinners with Miles Pennell and Gary Forrester, and this is a
we have to do it in that
retrospective
order?
of what?
Do we have to do it in that order? Because we always do it in that order. Can't we say Gary Forrester and Miles Pennell?
Oh, you're joking.
I am joking. I am joking. I don't care. What is the D-Trout Spinners?
Okay,
Miles?
it
'Cause you
is a
mentioned
retrospective of the XFM shows broadcast between 2002 and 2005.
2001.
That's right too. Okay, so in order of today's agenda, we are going to be doing our
me to tap on the
first thoughts and review of this episode, which is
Series 3, Episode 4.
correct. Broadcast on 22nd of November.
It's the only planning I've ever done is finding out that
to remind
in
yourself to
advance,
listen
yeah.
to the show. We're going to do some favourite quotes. We're going to do an XFM in the community special, but this is not your feedback as usual. But it is in a way.
We have got some feedback
But
from you.
I'm suppose a lot of you know, but Ricky Gervais responded via Twitter on the XFM shows directly to someone's tweet. And subsequent to that, there was a shutdown. The streaming platforms all removed all of the RSK content. So we've got a lot of feedback on that and many different thoughts and opinions on that. So I'm delighted to discuss that. And
we
maybe
put our own tweets out, didn't we? On to Ricky, and he
We
didn't
even-
respond. But yeah, it's interesting situation.
it is. It's the first time he's ever formally accepted or acknowledged
even,
the shows,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then at the end, we're going to choose a couple of songs to chuck into our little D-Trot Spinners library.
Okay, I love that bit.
It's all right. Anyway,
Can't wait.
so today it is Series 3, Episode 4, broadcast on the 22nd of November 2003. England wins the 2003 Rugby World Cup. Steve reminisces about his glasses. Karl and Steve trade insults about their appearances. The Office headed to America. What's a proctologist? You can listen to the original show in its entirety within the link in the description. So do check that out before you listen to our show. And then when you're ready, you can return to us and for our little debrief.
Hi.
Hello. So,
Welcome back. Is that what the Reddit crowd don't like? Anyway,
they don't-
forget that.
listen to them, listen to them.
Hello to you, by the way. You're the first to download it, I know. Anyway, we'll come to that another week.
Yes.
But I know you'll be listening first if you're on Reddit. You'll be desperate to
he loves
anyway,
the
go on.
Reddit crowd. What are your initial thoughts or takeaways from this episode?
It's a good show. I like the chat at the beginning. I can place where I was. I was at Birmingham Uni.
Is that it?
No, yeah, that's it. That's the story. I was at Birmingham. It's a good show. Yeah, I like the chat before Karl comes in, it's actually sometimes a bit dull. And he doesn't come in for 10 minutes often, but this time it's actually quite interesting chat. I just quite like it.
Well, the rugby chat and the gigs.
The rugby chat, cause especially because they talk about that story another time. Ricky doesn't respond so well, but this time he's like, see you, mum, bye. He really gets, like, that's, and Steve tells that another time, and he's not as funny, but it's, just, I quite like it. It's kind of, do you know what I mean? That chat can be a bit boring.
Yeah.
A bit dull. So I tap the table. So, let me just do an example of it, and you can keep this one in because it's just deliberate. So this is what I'm doing, but not as hard. Okay.
With your big claws, your big meaty claws.
They're manicured. I know Miles bites his nails down to the finger bone.
Right down to the nub. Yeah. Anyway, for me, the episode, I do hear what you're saying, but for me, the episode doesn't really start until you got that classic voicemail clip, which everyone is a big fan of, which is like, all right, 12:10, Wednesday. Yeah, just getting loads of people call me all the time about beep.
Yeah, it's good. That. But what I'm saying is not that the beginning is the highlight, but just that it's actually better than some beginning chats.
Yeah.
You know? Quite like it. But yeah, when the voicemail is like,
it just sets the tone for the whole episode, because it's a great XFM show will like set out a stall at the start. You get a bit of Ricky versus Steve in there, which starts straight off the cuff. You've got a bit of antagonism.
Well, Karl versus Steve.
Yeah,
not Ricky.
But it's just so bad. Like, he gets some voiceovers, and he hasn't passed on the message, and that would have been as they say, that would have been thousands of pounds. And how annoyed Ricky would have been.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Steve would have been so frustrated.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like, he wasn't even at the peak of his fame at that time, and I know he has subsequently gone on to do adverts and voiceovers and things like that. I think Ricky had already done some at that point.
Ricky was a millionaire by then.
Exactly. So Steve probably would have liked
Steve wasn't a millionaire.
that extra money.
Because as a writer of The Office, you don't actually get that much. Now he gets it as executive producer of the American.
But Carl's trying to make a point, isn't he? He's saying, why should I be your PA?
Yeah.
You know, why are those? Why am I getting requests from PR companies to me to relay to you?
But the interesting thing is, he does it for Ricky. He's pissed off about it, but he does it. Whereas for Steve, he just doesn't even do it. Like, doesn't bother.
Well, as he says, you know, you never pick on Ricky because you know he's your bread and butter.
Yeah, it's true. And he does have a go at Steve, which is funny.
I always think it's quite a brave thing, right? No, I'm not justifying it over, but I do think it's quite a brave thing to like have a go at someone's looks.
Yeah,
and just like straight off the cuff. Bear in mind, they probably barely knew each other at that point.
No, by then they knew each other well.
Yeah, but it starts off even in series 1, he starts having a go at him.
Normally,
you've got to be good friends with someone before you can start taking, like as me and you do. You know, we take the piss out of each other's like looks. The shark eyes. The dead shark eyes. No emotion behind
that's,
those.
Lonely and can't grow a hair everywhere else because it's like a little child. Like a 13-year-old would grow a moustache like that.
Bumfluff. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Steve doesn't like it, clearly. But it's a good example of Karl versus Steve. It's good in general. I'm interested. What makes it your best show ever? Because there's a lot of different moments in it. We'll get to Pringles, but what's for you makes it the best? It stands out from every other show.
I just think, in terms of like the chronological ordering of topics and subjects and insults, it's just so consistently funny. Like straight after that, you've got the one about sex.
Yeah.
You sure it was the market trader?
Again, Steve looks.
That is such a brilliant thing to say by Ricky. You sure it was a market trader? Give him six bums away.
Good.
That's such good use of what. But then he moves straight into the Karl versus Steve story, which is woman on the tube. And
that's the ultimate Karl versus Steve.
It's the thing which is
Oh, that's in my favourite quotes.
So me too.
I didn't know how to spell it, but I tried to spell it.
It's just it's a real like shudder, like a horror movie shudder, that isn't it?
Yeah, I spelt it EURGGGHH. That's the best way I could spell it. My favourite quote.
But I love that, just that. It's nature, and it's true. I do think that is the genetic thing, isn't it? Like Carl's often said in later podcasts. I think talking about the future, It's all genetics, isn't it? Right? That we're going to now like artificially create people who are beautiful.
Yeah, they do offer. Was it on the podcast they mentioned how they would look in the future like terrible, like they would be terrible examples of humans. All of them like were joking about their looks, but they're joking about their looks. So, but that's a podcast thing,
no, but that's what I mean. That it's nature's little way of saying nothing to see here.
Yeah, but
how insulting is that?
So
the poor little Steve.
Big eyes.
It's got big
eyes.
It's
ironic, like he can, but
it's that thing you've got to try that little bit harder. If you're not blessed with like natural good looks like me, for instance, then you got to try that little bit harder.
Yeah, if you're a beard that's like it's longer one side than the other, you got to try that a little bit harder.
I thought I was sitting there with Brian Blessed for a start. In what way is telling me that Brian Blessed did a podcast educational? But no, it is my favourite for that. I mean,
but there must be more.
I think it's just like the way Ricky sets it up. But then also there's the proctologist talk, which I do quite enjoy.
I've got something on that.
I think you've got a little. It's good because you've got a little bit of improv comedy from the Fangs but no thanks.
That's great.
Story,
that's actually a good ad-lib sketch. And I said that's a great example of their writing process. For today, I was listening to it. I was thinking that's how they wrote The Office. That definitely doing that. I'm sure. Like that, it just came to. They've done other ad-lib sketches, but this one, for some reason, it's just like swinged in my brain. Like that's how they wrote. That's exactly how they wrote.
Yeah, they could do that.
Yeah,
they could do that.
And it was like behind the curtain.
I like just little insights into Carl's life, such as writing your CV, talking about the best job he's ever had as a paper round.
He grabs it like so. Paper round straight away before
he knows, and he's talked about it before. But you do sort of, I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, but Ricky's got a good point. You're not your own, but as long as you deliver the papers to where you said at the time he said that it's your own boss. It's true. You're not if any job you're not your own boss. It's a paper round.
But it's such an honest revelation. But I also think
honest.
But then what's the biggest lie you've ever told in your CV? And it's like English quite good. And I totally believe that. And he said,
believe it.
They said, Suzanne, what did she say? She just laughed.
That's not like some stories Carl tells. We know this did not happen, but that one he might have been told them that they happened, like really been, but they didn't happen. But that one clearly, I totally 100%. Believe because it's just funny. It's quite sweet. It's sweet more than anything.
Because he was like he didn't want people to think he was such a good public speaker. So it's like he talks in the most minimal amount of dialogue required to do your job.
Ironically, English he's very good at, like explaining stuff in a simple way.
Yeah,
he's actually very good at it. So it's so like self-deprecating, but not as a joke. Like to put him down as
And what's the worst lie you've ever told in your CV?
Ooh, I've told on my CV. That time I was MD of Barclays. I was MD for a couple of years. Yeah, do you remember that when I was buying all our drinks for us?
Yeah.
I haven't really lied much on my CV. I mean, I've said certainly oh yeah, I'm experienced with this, I'm experienced with that. Like Excel. I've got extensive Excel experience, and then I was tested on it once.
Really?
Like an interview, and I was terrible. I couldn't recreate the table, like the simple stuff you can do, but yeah.
I think my worst interview, or one of them, was definitely this is when I just finished my teacher training course, and I went to Walthamstow School Academy or whatever it's called to be a media teacher. I was like, well, it's a solid job, and I've got the qualifications, and they literally left me in a room for about an hour to put together a lesson plan, a curriculum plan.
So not before you arrived. This was on the day
in the interview. And okay, I didn't lie about being a teacher, but I lied the fact that I think I could have done everything that they were asking me to do.
That's okay.
And it was fucking stressful. Literally an hour of sitting there, literally twiddling my thumbs, thinking I'm not going to get through this.
Karl Marx was born in quick little cupboard.
There was another one. There was another bad one. I went to Channel 5.
We might go to Channel 5 with this.
I went to Channel 5, and it was to be a TV scheduler, and you need to know a lot about maths and everything. And I had all these sums and calculations to make, and I literally have no idea. I got a C in maths at school. It was absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
And I think I got every single one of them wrong. Didn't hear back.
No, I didn't hear back from the Excel one when I did the show.
Yeah.
But he was so polite, and it was like, oh, it's good. But then I look back, I didn't get anything right. I couldn't do the table. I said on my CV, I can do these tables and stuff. I didn't know they were going to test me. If I knew they were going to test me, I wouldn't have said.
But they do that for so many interviews.
Some do, but
you have to do it often a test on an interview
job,
that if it's a particular vocational, professional, whatever it is. And I think I've definitely lied about like Adobe packages and thinking I know how to edit, and then clearly with the show I don't know how to edit.
No, Miles is a good editor. I'll give you that. That's one thing you're good at, is editing. I mean, I do all the editing for this show, but
Yeah, of course,
Miles is a good editor.
But I do believe, when Ricky says, I think I did one CV once for like,
it's so Ricky-like. And it's
they said the
arrogant.
biggest knockback, and that was it. You just didn't want to do it again. And he's been so lucky. Unfortunately, it's great.
Yeah, because you never have to. Back in those days, you don't have to do a CV to get into radio. He'd done a Sean and Dancing. You just get on, and you just kind of known, and you just pitch things, and you just have all these opportunities. And he made the most of them. He was good at it.
100%. And he was like manager of Suede, I believe, at one point.
Was he?
And yeah. And so it's just, God, he's so lucky, isn't it?
Not having to do CVs.
I just don't think you get those situations.
But he's not. He's made the most of that luck.
Yeah,
he deserves it because he made the most of it. Most people wouldn't be that talented. He's talent as well, but he was lucky.
Yeah.
Be in Sean, if he wasn't short for Sean and Dancing, he wouldn't have got all the opportunities. He would have been as talented, but he wouldn't have got the
do
opportunities.
people get jobs like that, though? Seriously, where it's not just like
Definitely.
based on, accomplishments or, accreditation.
You've been in media before,
Yeah.
you can talk,
But I've never had, every job I've ever got is via a CV or a job
and an
application or a cover letter. And the
that's
cover
where
letter,
because we're not Ricky Gervais. We're not going face. We've sent our, I won't lie, we've sent a demo off to a few radio stations before. Didn't
Yeah,
hear
never
back.
heard
That's all
back.
That's
Never
okay.
heard back.
Didn't want to. Next.
Want us to do this podcast instead.
Yeah.
I love the link that they come out of. That's REM and Animal.
Oh, that,
Animal,
yeah.
sync,
Animal,
Animals, sync that.
Animals.
And I'm just saying, it came up in Animal is a good link, isn't it?
But I said this to you before, Steve's observation that people have most heard most of the stand-up observations on this show. And not only that, stand-up animals, but that became a theme of Ricky's. So he always includes stuff from the show. So that's a prophetic observation for Steve,
absolutely.
from Steve.
And if you actually have watched episode 4 of The Outlaws, there is a quote from the mum character to the son.
Who's the mum?
I can't remember. She's I have recognised her face.
No,
definitely.
but not in real life. Which character's the mum?
She's the mum of the Christopher Walken character.
Oh, she's
yeah.
No, she's not the mum. She's the daughter.
The daughter.
She's the mum of the children, his grandchildren. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know her. Yeah, go on.
So there's a quote, and she says to him, "Do you remember the parable about the scorpion and the frog?" Now, let's go back. That was a parable that Steve mentions in series 1, right? And that's series 1. And then Ricky literally recycles that whole bit in Afterlife. There's a whole section with him and the woman on the bench, and says it's like the parable between the scorpion and the frog, and it's almost like Steve's little way of saying nothing's. No, it's like Steve's little way of saying
I'm going to take some stuff. I'm
going to reclaim that for myself.
Yours, yeah.
And there's a little bit of that coming up when we discuss Ricky's tweets earlier this week, where there is the sense that you get the feeling that he's reclaiming the XFM shows. I don't ever get the impression that Steve or Karl have interest or even care, to be honest, but I feel like this is the last little part of his career that he hasn't ever taken full ownership, and I think this was an example of that, actually.
But if he was interviewed, he would say, and if that was brought up, he would say, yes, I was taking that from that time, whereas Ricky wouldn't. I don't think Ricky wouldn't acknowledge it.
But I'm glad
he takes them anyway. Yeah, I'm glad he takes them.
I'm glad that Steve did take ownership of that show. It's his own observation. And he never does that, actually. I think Steve, out of everyone, he's more unlikely to take something off the XFM shows.
Yeah, and it's not like he took it. It's just, it'll be in his mind anyway, and kind of like, he might have just thought of it. Because of the Chinese businessman, that's definitely from, like, it reminds me of the XFM I said last week, of the Hong Kong, like, unless that's your business partner in Hong Kong, saying your deal's not going to go through, put the phone down.
And that was actually mentioned on our Patreon show, so do head over to there to find out our thoughts on the Outlaws more generally. I do have a little small hill to die on in this episode, and it is, when Ricky says it's when they're doing the animals chat, but no, Phoenix Night's better than The Office, so by Phoenix Night,
I like this.
And but when he says you've probably seen the best bits, it says no, it's only really the dance, and you get that on a JPEG. Now, you can't get a dance which is an AV piece on a static format such as a JPEG. You can get it as a GIF or a MOV or an MP4. You can't get it on a JPEG. So unless he's just referring to it as a dance image a static image, then that is my small hill to die on.
Sorry.
And it really bugs me every time he says that. Just the formatting of AV and static materials.
Yeah, what are you talking Italian? I mean, I don't understand
A
that.
JPEG is a static image file that you use. You'll probably download many of them. Most of them unsavoury for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's his favourite show, but he's got that criticism. That's so like you. Because he does a bit of technical project management.
I do a little bit of technical project. I do love the chat later on in the episode where he's talking about the arse doctor. What's a proctologist? Have you ever had an exam?
I have.
Have you really?
Yes, I have. Oh my goodness,
Oh,
I've had an
haven't.
operation up there. Oh god, yeah.
Tell us about the operation.
Oh, it's nasty. It's fine. Afterwards, I felt bliss. I was on morphine. It's great. But then it's like, oh, painful.
Did you have a colonic irrigation? Have you ever had that?
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah,
Have you?
Yeah.
I would love to have that.
It felt lovely. It's so nice. It's like I've done it all, everything I need to
You're
do
flushed
my
out.
business. But
That's
it
what I
hasn't
mean.
been done. I haven't had to do it.
I said this the other
And
day.
you feel like, oh, it's nothing in me.
Yeah.
I feel you've lost
love
weight.
that. I love that.
Because every little bit gets out. You know?
I said to my girlfriend earlier this week, I said my ideal setup, because I went to a hygienist for my teeth, and I just, look how clean they are.
They're pretty clean.
They are pretty clean, thanks very much. And but it's
Muzz alginating them.
I really would love to live with either, imagine living with Dr. Christian, right? Jonathan Van Ness from Queer Eye, and he could do my hair and make myself look good, and then just sexy dentist woman.
Sexy dentist woman. Is she in Marvel? Next Marvel, I
the Marvel film. But imagine that you would leave the house feeling fine, at the peak of health.
Yeah, but
you'd look fantastic, and your teeth would be glowing.
And you'd keep them. You wouldn't even let them stay in the house. They'd be in a shed outside, an outhouse, just that they stay.
They'd be locked
it's cold.
in there.
It's freezing.
It'd be great. And just visit them every day before I left the house to buy some more lemons.
I bought a lemon today.
You mentioned it.
Yeah, I wanted to mention it again. I bought a lemon. But that proctologist show, they start us off with Karl's ignorance, and then Ricky and Steve then go to the ignorant ones. They're taking the piss out of it, and then it goes back to Karl, and they're the voice of reasons again. It's like a circle.
Yeah.
Often it's like this. It's like Karl starts as the idiot, then they're saying no, you can't think this is the same thing, and then Ricky and Steve start on the thing. Ironically, what they were just criticising Karl for, and then at the end it goes back to Karl being ignorant and then being the voice of reasons. It's actually noticeable.
But this has always been an area of great interest to Ricky. He's getting Karl's arse sorted.
They did that little video.
Well, they did the video in An Idiot Abroad at the end of series 2. They actually get a doctor which is called Frank the Doctor, which I don't know why I find that amusing.
Frank the Tank. I used to know Frank. We called him Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank. And he gets a prostate examination.
Yeah, I know. It's the ultimate thing to get.
When he walks in, and he says, "We're going to get this guy to stick a finger on his arm," and he says. And then Karl quick smash says, "Have I even shook your hand yet?"
Yeah.
Just always
It's a great line. That's why Karl's so good, because those lines, no, they're definitely not written. If they've written, they wouldn't have worked. But he probably knew he was going to say something like that. But he kind of put it. He says it so well. But yeah, it's like it doesn't matter. It's not painful.
And everyone should get it tested, actually, because I've never had a prostate examination.
But you're not old. You're probably about my age.
I don't know, mate. The sort of problems I
have. Well, I've got a lot of problems. It's not much my arse. It's head down to toe. But they just arse is one of the problems. So they'll do the arse whilst they're there. Just do everything else as well.
Gary, I know you're our resident crisp expert.
Yes.
And we are yet to receive our year's worth of supply of Pringles.
Can you imagine if we did?
But
can you imagine?
What are your opinions on the humble Pringle?
They're very good, yeah. They do fill you up though, and you do feel like it's a difficult. I want a colonic irrigation after the day after, put it that way. But they are nice. They're lovely. But sometimes they're not as salted. The vinegar side is
but
not
this is
as
my
strong.
problem with.
Sometimes it's really strong. It's really annoying,
But this is my problem with the humble Pringle. It's like all of the flavour's gone when you lick it off, and I want a crisp that can maintain that flavour through the.
Crisp. You're munching a crisp anyway.
No, but your Pringles
crisp
because they're built. No, because the shape of the Pringle is identical to your tongue, so you can.
But that's not what
That is.
This is Gary's advice. Don't lick crisps.
No, it's
ladies
all
and
right.
gentlemen.
But I don't know. I don't like the whole when they do the Pringle claw thing. That's the joke from Peep Show when you get Pringle hands.
Yeah.
And Joanne, I
That's
don't.
fu- yeah,
They're
fine.
cheap, but I remember they're always out, aren't they, on display in like a buffet or a
Well, it's the classic thing because they fit in the bowl quite nicely
Yeah.
and they can stack up on each other.
My
Famously,
my
Unlike
niece and
normal
nephews
crisps.
love them. They love
I
a
like
Pringle.
Pringles. I do, but only salt and vinegar.
I think it's all the Pringle
Sometimes
chemicals.
cheese and onion, but salt and vinegar, basically.
Just
Blue,
the
light
sourest.
blue packet.
The sourest of all.
The most bitter taste of Gary Forrestal.
And on Bourbons, whilst we're there, what do you make of
well,
Bourbons?
I do like Bourbons. Yeah, I quite like Bourbons. Yeah,
I don't know who came up with Bourbons. They're nothing to me.
they're not like my favourite. No, I would never buy a packet of Bourbons. Ever.
What are people's favourite?
What are people's favourite? Send us some samples and we'll get back to you and let you know what we think of them.
This is the third mention, or the second mention, I can't remember, of the tomato sauce story.
It's
Whilst
not
you're
the
on
third,
sticking things up
but
your arse.
what it is, they mention it subsequently later on in the podcast, I think. They mention
Yeah.
it again. So this one is the second, I think.
What I do love in the stand-up, he takes it that bit further. He says, "No, what I'd do is I'd stick a pole in there, set it with some cement, and then he didn't think about the return journey."
Yeah,
I love the use
It
of
is
the
good,
word
right?
of the phrase
Return
return
journey,
journey.
yeah.
It's just
You had a return journey in your dream, didn't you, the other night?
Let's not talk about
anyway.
But it was. I imagine this isn't the best retelling of that story. The best retelling of that story is earlier in series 2, where Steve's got that real sort of juvenile laugh just behind it. And it's
Yeah.
Safe sauce.
Safe
and all that
sauce.
sort
Oh,
of
yeah.
stuff. That is so much better.
Yeah, it's a good mention of it. Actually, it's a completely apocryphal tale. It never happened.
Yeah.
It never happened. It's well known. It's well told amongst people, before Ricky did.
What are your opinions on the some of the returning features? So like Rockbusters.
Yeah, Rockbusters,
which has been cancelled
alright.
for like the third or fourth
I know,
time.
yeah, it's ridiculous. I never know whether it's cancelled or active going, but it was about an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Rockbusters. It was good.
And Karl in the film, because for me this is the
No,
worst.
Yeah,
Karl
I
in the
was
film.
just say, I can't. But that's why. But it's your favourite episode ever. So I can't compute that.
But nothing can be perfect.
It doesn't go down that well because Ricky doesn't laugh.
Yeah.
They don't laugh. So and it makes a difference.
It's not the best.
It's not like he
But
put
it
a lot
shows-
of effort into it. I'm
and it
impressed
shows
with him
creativity,
still.
transposing
Yeah, it was
that in a
creative.
scene of Pulp Fiction, which I'm sure you've seen that film.
I've roughly seen half of that film. Roughly half.
McDonald's and fries.
And I wasn't look, I was probably, yeah, exactly. Well, they're doing the double Big Mac at the moment. God, I'm
I
going
saw you
mental.
sent me a text about that.
Yeah,
and I loved how excited you would have been about
I
a double Big Mac.
I've got my own slices of cheese in the cupboard.
Have you
in
ordered
the
one yet?
fridge? No. Yeah, I have, yeah.
Do you know my problem with
Yeah.
the Big Mac? Too much bread.
This
how
one,
is
there's
bread?
2 burgers each. So
Yeah, but I don't. Why do you want bread in a bread burger?
Yeah, but it's just like it's like
It's a filler.
If they crisped it up a bit.
I feel cheated. I feel like they're just trying to fill me up. I don't want to.
Well, yeah, I mean, they are.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Yeah.
I don't want.
Are you going to take them to court or?
Oh, I'll tell you what. Game changer burger, and this is it is the cop season
Are we
to be jolly.
Are we sponsored by these people?
No, Beyond Burgers. Have you ever had a Beyond
No.
Burger?
No.
They are just they're made from pea protein and beetroot
no,
juice and stuff to make it red. And
No.
honestly,
I'm
Gary,
not
they are
criticising
so
the
fucking
vegans.
delicious.
Really?
They've got a real sort of dense smokiness. They are just so delicious. They're meaty. They're juicy.
I'm Gary Runs. But then that's the thing. I can tell you one thing factually: they are not meaty. They seem
No,
meaty.
yeah,
they're not
but
meaty.
doesn't that make you
I
think
know,
about
yeah.
the whole thing about what your senses do? They just distort how you like.
Well, soy protein can be quite tasty. It does taste, but I have had vegan or vegetarian stuff before. I just don't live by it, you know.
Yeah, you've had a bowl of lentils, haven't you?
I probably contribute more than anyone, because I have a lot of McDonald's. The amount of cows I have eaten,
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny it.
It would be terrifying, wouldn't it? I often think about this. Do you remember when Gillian McKeith was the thing and she used to put all the food on the table?
Well, Nicky
Can you
Regan.
imagine
Oh,
Can you imagine seeing all of the food that you've eaten in a week?
All of the filth.
Or
You
imagine,
even said filth.
or imagine, yeah, I mean with you, definitely.
it is, I'm saying, I'm admitting it.
And it's can you imagine over a lifetime how many sort of animals you've probably eaten?
But I don't, I probably about 26. I'd say full animals, like whole.
We're not doing great for our vegan audience, are we?
Do we have a vegan audience, do you reckon? Maybe there are some.
There are a
vegan.
couple of little things in this episode that I like that are kind of more about like them and the sort of where you sort of get a look behind the curtain as to the production of the show. Like Ricky goes, we had a listener call. It says that we used to pay a lot more ads. Are there more ads? I don't know.
Yeah.
Carl's getting all frustrated and like because I don't know why they're more. Ads doesn't matter.
Like
Doesn't
Ricky's
matter.
having to go,
Stop
Carl.
talking about it.
Like
We'll
Carl
leave it out.
decides.
And he was like, well, you know, he said we got Rockbusters. We're getting back.
We're getting back. We're winning back.
We're winning
That's
back.
a great line.
And
great
it's just
line.
and at the end, is our language okay on this show?
I was going to say, it's the only time I've heard them kind of contemplate it. And Carl's going, like, in the most sort of saying, oh, I've had problems.
I've been told you to be careful on that.
Yeah, I've told you to be careful. Like, they have the worst language you could ever imagine for a daytime radio show. But Carl's just like, well, I've told you to be careful. Like, they never contemplate it like that.
No.
Like, but they don't do anything about it. They don't care. I was going to say give a shit, and then I stopped because I thought my language.
Because you're worried about the language. But lucky this is a podcast.
And lucky no one listens. No, you do. If you're listening, you're very dear to us.
Yeah. All right.
I'll meet
and then
you.
there's that bit at the end
Please.
where Steve tells Carl to shut up, which I don't like that. I don't like people telling people to shut up.
Yeah, it's not. He's getting back for all the shit. Like he got him worse. Like Carl got him Steve worse. But
But do you
know
not think though? Like, and this is actually a conversation I've had with my partner, my humble female
Your
partner,
life partner.
And like if we have an argument, and sometimes I do tell her to shut up, and
You
I feel
do.
like an absolute tool case after that. I feel just that it's the rudest, it's worse than any swear word actually to tell someone to shut up. I think.
Depends what they're saying. Depends what they're saying. Sometimes it can be appropriate. But I know your girlfriend. I know she would be in the right of that
Yeah,
argument.
no, she
Whatever
said
the
the
argument
COVID
was.
vaccine turns you into a fox. That's
Oh, well,
what
that
she said,
okay,
right?
yeah, actually, she does. Yeah, some out there opinions.
She
I
didn't
should
say that.
No, but she, yeah.
So I did feel a bit bad about that. So I do feel like there are times when you shouldn't tell someone to shut up, but then it is quite funny as well at the same time.
Shut up.
It depends how you say it. If it's like shut up, like in the
That's
heat
how
of an
Steve
argument, yeah. But if it's like, oh, shut up, what are you talking about? That's all right.
Shut up. Isn't that thing from Towie? Shut up. That guy. I don't know. I don't know anything of this quote.
Of the modern
but
world.
He goes, shut up. And it's like a thing.
You said a really
He's gay.
interesting tweet actually, which was, we're talking about, you said Towie and stuff, but you said a really good tweet, and we'll talk about this in more detail later. But you said how the XFM shows are constructed reality. I love that as a phrase because that is now a respected genre in BAFTA. Like all of those shows, Towie, Made in Chelsea, there is actually a genre for best of constructed reality genre.
We're entering next year, aren't we?
We are
for
this show.
Too, yeah.
No, but
we construct
isn't that
it.
interesting? Though?
Yeah, it's because someone said it was scripted, and I said, well, it's not scripted. I thought the midpoint between completely unplanned and scripted is constructed reality. That's kind of how I see it.
But it's true, and it's kind of funny. It's kind of how that was like a forerunner to that genre in a way. In a way, it is kind of, but it's not constructed reality in the sense I see Towie. I don't like Towie. I like this. So it was kind of a midpoint gauge, roughly, that sort of thing, but a much better version of it. Sure.
That's what I'd say. But yeah, I still probably got about 3 likes now in my tweets. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't care.
No one's bitter.
Not bitter.
Shut up.
Shut up. Shut up about
What are
it.
your... And the last thing on my list for this episode,
You've covered most of my list. To be fair, this is in sync.
I was going to say that the sort of fangs but no
fangs. Yeah.
I mean, I like the fact that he goes, I don't like QI, don't like any of those Oxbridge, Cambridge type, but because I don't watch them. You're a big fan of QI
great.
and University Challenge and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not in University Challenge so much. That's hard, but QI is fantastic. Yeah, usually. I mean, with Santos, it's still good. I don't want to get into that. We're not against women, but at all. But yeah, it used to be very good, and it still is with Sandy.
There's a very funny. I was watching some old Shooting Stars recently.
Oh, yeah.
This is not going to work because it's a podcast.
No, but say it.
But
we'll try.
He says, and Bob Mortimer and Vic Reeves turn to the contestants and they go, and at this point of the show, I'd like to adopt the pose of Stanley Tosvik.
I can remember that.
And if you can't see it, they bring their shoulders up to their necks,
So
almost
they've got
so
no neck,
so you're like a cuboid.
We
adopt the phrase of Stanley Tosvik.
She was on Call My Bluff. I used to watch her in those days. She was brilliant on that.
She is a great presenter,
good,
and it's a very fitting replacement for Stephen Fry,
Yeah.
who we're seeing a bit later today.
Oh yes, our Stephen Fry. Yes, I was going to say.
We've kind of got a
what
resident
tickets
Stephen
have you
Fry.
got? Like, because you always get tickets.
Well,
for
no, you
people.
do actually still owe me £29 for
Tell me
Stuart
this, I
Lee.
don't remember that. I would have paid you straight away, but
Yeah,
you
but
obviously
didn't.
tell-
and
No,
that's
but I
the-
didn't.
And that's the point. That's the big takeaway.
Yeah.
In a way.
What's the interest on that?
Well, there's quite a lot of interest. This one. Did I mention I'm 500 quid down?
Yeah, but
I've
I
got to
can't
regain the
believe I
losses.
didn't pay you, but I do believe you.
No,
but
it's
I'll
all
pay
right,
you.
mate.
but-
Don't worry. It's all
Well,
we're friends
okay, I won't
here.
pay you then.
I mean, we're all mates,
Are we?
which is a quote
We kind
from
of
this
yeah,
show, which is
yes.
coming up in our next feature.
Now, but we're going to have a break
Let's
first.
have a little
I
break,
need
'cause
a
I need a wee and
you
another
need
drink.
A wee. We need a drink.
We need to
Everyone
refresh
needs
our
to just
glasses.
we need to calm
Just
down
relax,
a bit.
because
Just
when we come
chill
back,
out.
we're also going to be looking into the RSK tweets.
Yeah, absolutely. Mars is on a 9. He needs to go down to a 2. Right?
And we're back.
Mars just offered me a bit of his pan au chocolat.
Yeah.
First time in my life.
But you don't like sweet
I
things.
declined. I don't really. No, I like savoury. I'm always savoury. If I'm hungry, I savoury. In a restaurant, I'll always have a starter, never a dessert.
Oh, interesting facts.
So if you want to come to a restaurant with me to test that out, I am willing.
His number is
and able.
07.
I can't split the bill, but if you could cover it all, I'll do it.
I mean,
got some
I'm
crisps,
happy
haven't
to
I?
take some money if anyone's willing to give us some.
Well, I've just given you 30 quid as well, actually.
It's not enough. Not enough if I'm quite happy. Anyway, we're back and it's time for our favourite quotes. Now, let's rattle through these because I tell you what, I've got a fair few.
Oh, I've got a fair few as well, but we've got a lot of ex-fem in the community with this all Ricky Storm, so we'll be talking about that in a
Ricky
moment.
Storm.
Ricky Storm, that is
I
what
like
it is,
that,
isn't
yeah.
it?
All right, here we go.
Okay, go on, you start.
All right, 12, Wednesday.
Yeah, I've got...
I could have put in all of that
Yeah,
speech, to be
yeah.
fair.
Yeah, it's good. I just like this laugh from Ricky. I can't remember exactly when he said, but ha ha, ha ha. It's a very specific
that?
one. It's not. It's at the beginning. Somewhere at the beginning.
Oh, I should have known it was a woman. So he's having a go. He's having a go.
He's having a go. By the way, just one thing I want to say. Those women Carl's talking about, he never makes it clear. Are they women he knows, or was it
No.
someone who's overheard?
It's an
those
overheard
women?
thing.
But it's so weird. It sounds like he knows those women. But yeah, I'd never.
But a
quite
great
been sure
example
of
of
that.
things, because I live in London, and a great example of things you do overhear some fair. There's that Metro column, isn't there, of like weird shit that's said on
The
tubes.
anonymous
Yeah.
person, yeah.
Because you do hear some absolute crackers on there if you're at a certain time. My most adventurous
Absolute
tube
cracker.
story
Sorry,
is
that's my bad.
I was eating a wasabi katsu curry on the
That's
tube.
so
I
disgusting.
know, that's
Stinks.
honestly, I felt like the worst person in the world, but that was the worst crime I'd ever committed on.
I've done that on on a bus. Even a sausage roll, I won't get out because it's the smell.
But now I was on the bus the other day and someone was eating McDonald's, like licking his fingers
Yeah,
and
I've
shit
been
like that.
on
And I
that.
was like,
That's
there's a
fucking-
fucking pandemic going on? What's going on here?
Yeah, well, why were you were with your wasabi?
That was
and
ages ago when there
hoisin
weren't a
sauce.
pandemic going on.
You would
Anyway,
still have done it today. I know you would. I know you would.
my next one is lion's share. Lion's animal.
Well, my next one is animals. Animals. Yeah, we've talked about it anyway, yeah, but it's just that he's very clever at knowing the exact amount of time to leave it between
Yeah.
animal and then the S. Animal.
Okay. No. Phoenix Night's better than The Office. So buy Phoenix Nights, don't buy The Office, and then that's closely folled up with.
Let me
in the
know
same-
because this is going to be my one.
Oh,
so
go on
here.
then. Go on then.
Oh, Office.
Office.
That was we had a joint one there because that was mine.
Okay.
Oh, Office.
My one is wanna buy sex.
Right, sex.
It just
I've
it's such
heard
a
that.
it's such a it's such a degrading impression. Wanna
Yeah.
buy sex.
See, I'll tell you, like I was going to say, I had that exact thing. I
Was
don't
not
know,
the
I can't
best
remember
bum and
exactly
W1?
what she said.
What was that?
Yeah, no, it was a woman. She was an older woman. She said, we've got lots of young girls. No, I didn't want to be rude, so I stopped to chat to her, and I was like, okay, no, sorry, I don't. I said, have you got a card I could take? She said, no, we don't really give cards out. I swear.
Do you have a
I said-
business
like,
card?
But if you've got a business card, like, no, we don't. Like, I was only saying it.
But no, but is that a true fit? Like, because I've seen the massage parlours. Does it not ever make you think that behind closed doors there's loads of like sex and seedy shit going on?
Well, on QI they talk about this, and
Because there's like dungeons, don't they? There's like
celebrities are
sex dungeons and
a
shit.
lot of celebrities who you see are involved in sexual acts, not criminal, but sexual, just sex between each other. You don't know.
Yeah.
It's not deviant, but it's kind of
Deviant behaviour.
yeah.
different strokes for different folks. That's what I say.
Well, I'll take that for my life.
My one
it's
is...
my one. No, sorry, no, it's your one.
Yeah, it's my one. Thanks very much.
I'm sorry. That's my next one. And as I said, EURGGGHH. That's how I spell
I feel like it's impossible to spell it.
But
Just because it's just that you can just. It's one of those sounds. What is the word? It's not onomatopoeia. It's
It is. Well, it's,
No. It's those words which it sounds like the thing it is. I can't.
That's
remember.
onomatopoeic.
No,
that is what that is.
Okay.
But, like that's how I spell it. See, it looks good like that. That is kind of okay. That's my next one. Sorry, Johnny Depp. And I have used that. I'll say this. I've used that, and to not giving them credit, use that to my own advantage because it's a funny line to do when people are coming out. Sorry, Johnny Depp. I've used it with my uncle, other people. They don't know. I don't credit.
When we did our live show, someone said I looked a bit like Johnny Depp in the film Secret Window. So I'll take that.
Did they?
He plays a murderer in that. So take from that what you will.
No, they're taking the piss out of my looks. But one person did say you look hot. She did right at the beginning.
I think
We
they
don't
were
know.
joking.
We think. No, she said afterwards. You could tell from that. She wasn't joking.
All right.
But I'm saying,
Ask her,
all right,
Alex.
you just go with your Johnny Depp material. Like, oh, they think I'm Johnny Depp. But I can't have one person saying I'm hot. With
Well,
the
no,
good
have a starter and main with her then.
Yeah,
if you're that fucking brave.
got a bit of dry skin on your nose, Gary.
Okay. Oh, I ain't got time now when I'm at work. I just get on with it. I'm like squiddly diddly.
squiddly
Fingers and
diddly.
pies, different jobs. Go on.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think that's because of the chemicals. I've always liked that.
Which is Blockbusters, Bubbler Music. See you later.
Yeah, this
Again, another great use of the phrase "see you
he
later."
does that so well. See you later. Because it's nothing to do with what he's saying. Like you would never say that, like in a natural conversation, after just saying that. See you later. Like, but it's like
Not even if
it's-
you're saying goodbye to
Do you know
someone.
what it is? It's the verbal equivalent of dropping the mic.
Yeah.
Like, it's a mic drop. It's like see you later.
See you
Like,
later.
it's just, boom. He does it so
Hey,
well.
and talking about mic drops and having microphones, guys.
We got a microphone in front of us today.
We
haven't
do. We're the Trout Spinners. It is not 100% confirmed yet, the date, but we are going to be doing a live show. So come pop the old trousers on, iron your jeans, and head down to Hackney, where we'll be doing a Christmas spectacular.
We will. We'll probably be doing a bit of a review of both Christmas shows. But yeah, it's in Hackney. It's in the Cock Tavern. We can say...
Did you say cocks as in to mean the
bird? I mean the bird.
Yeah.
Actually, I meant the tavern.
You meant the tavern.
I meant the tavern. It's not 100% confirmed. So yeah, come down and be kind because we're going to get some of
Heckles.
our heckler people who don't
the
like
Reddit.
us coming down possibly. But yeah, come down and
it's going to be probably in the first 2 weeks of December, and it's...
Well, probably I can say this. It's likely to be Sunday the 12th of December at about 1:30 p.m. Get there for 1.
But we'll put a proper announcement out on the
will.
podcast and on our Twitter, Spinners Podcast, so do keep following us there.
But just generally, let us know in your emails how you feel about that. Like maybe if all of them say we don't like
don't
it,
want to come.
we don't want to do it.
No, it'd be lovely if we could see some of your
Yeah,
faces.
sorry. Okay, so I think it's my one. Is it my one? I haven't got time for all that when I'm at work, man.
That's what I did.
Oh, is that
I
yours?
just
No,
literally
you didn't
did
do.
that.
You didn't do that, but you didn't say that. But that was the kind of thing. Anyway, you go on. Your next one.
And this is a classic and something that Steve always gets peppered with loads of comments with every single post via Instagram or Twitter, and it's eyes bulging with imagined riches.
Yeah.
And you can replace the word riches with anything.
Woman.
You can replace it with anything.
Yeah. That's such a perfect way of what was written. Like to be read out on that show, like, oh, he's bulging with Imagine Richard. That is Steve. Like, they take the piss out of Steve that so much.
But isn't it funny though? Because he does follow up by saying, he does the Brent thing with obviously rubbing your fingers together, and that was very much a characteristic trait of Ricky that he carried on for ages and ages, and it was always a mock thing, wasn't it?
He probably still does to this day.
Yeah.
But he's by then he's a millionaire. But yeah, you've got every right to do it as long as you're not really being arrogant. But
yeah, of course.
He hides it. He doesn't hide it. But I mean, he's not being arrogant. He kind of you make it better, for want of a better phrase. You kind of don't. As long as you're being funny with it as well, you can do that.
Yeah.
Well, Ivan the Crafty at most. Ivan the Crafty at most.
Ivan the
yeah.
Cow hit by train lands on farmer's wife.
That's got. I mean, I haven't put that in my favourite quotes, but that's kind of like that's almost too good for your favourite quotes. It's like
it's just great.
Well, imagine when Carl found that, how happy he was. Like he's going to be able to read that on air because he does it. He does it and over. They had those crazy ones. Because he's a better drawer, isn't he?
It is a brilliant link out. That
It's such a clever thing to say. It's so true.
Yeah.
Like, you would say Leonardo because he's a better drawer. He can draw the things.
He can draw the thing. My next one is a bloke got through. Terrorist? No. And I scream, Salah. That's all right then.
Is that Baz Babingboyne? I know who Baz Babingboyne is. He's from the Mail. A columnist from the Mail. Yeah. Blockbusters with music.
I literally just did that one.
Did you just?
Yeah. So you not listen to anything I'm saying?
I'm so sorry. I just did it. I heard you, but I thought you did.
It's fine. Don't worry.
That.
It's fine.
I'm sorry. You know what I've done before.
You know, a lot of people say that we either repeat anecdotes or we repeat each other.
You know, yeah, and there's been about 6 times where we pick a song at the end. I picked the same song as I picked the week before.
Yeah. I think you've got a memory like a goldfish. You're old fish gallon.
So, okay, I'll go to me.
Okay.
It's to me. We'll have to...
That's all right.
Okay. That's true.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good one.
Really good.
Bicycle stipe. Which is
so ridiculous.
Do you know how long I was like trudging the Google for a picture of Michael Stipe with a bicycle so I could tweet that. How pathetic and sad is my life?
Oh, that's good. You should get more than I got for my tweets. But no, bicycle stipe is, and it's very clever of Ricky to come up with that on the fly. He wasn't thinking of it before.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't kind of planning.
He's bald and he buys a bike. Bicycle stipe.
Like, yeah, but if you have nothing, like no central point, you have to come up with something completely fresh.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work. He has a perfect example of something that is good but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, but it's good. It's funny to do on the show.
It's so
like,
funny.
Anyway.
My next one.
I know it's me.
Okay,
I've just got this in 2 ways. There's 2 ways I like. All right, I've just got all right because he does it. Carl does it at the. I can't remember the preceding line.
I think I've actually got. I think this is my quote actually. It goes, or on the text 83XFM. Right.
Oh yeah, tell you what. No, I've remembered. It's where they come back from a song and Ricky goes, "It's me, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, and that bald little mank twat." Carl Poon's it. All right, that's right. Yeah. No, so you don't know. Some freedom, isn't it? I love that. Some freedom, isn't it?
Isn't it?
It's he's so good at going into that little. It's the isn't it, but it makes it. Like he could have said some freedom, isn't it, and it wouldn't. It just would have been all right. But that just going into that little. Like he's tripping over his own words, but he's not really. It's as if he's some freedom, isn't it?
Well, we got Rockbusters here. Let's get him back.
Yeah, fantastic. Love it. Why have you got to do that? Why have you got to do that?
There's got to be a better way of doing that, isn't there?
It's kind of like one of those thoughts that is medically clearly inaccurate, but kind of like sensible in a way. You think, well, surely there is something you can do instead of that, you know. Stick something
and my last one is Fiddy. I calls him Fiddy, Sen.
That's my last one. My last one wasn't that, but just Fiddy. It's his last Fiddy. That's the nice.
Fiddy.
Okay, I got one more anyway. Actually, that's good. We kind of in sync this week. No, it's not Dire Straits.
No, it's not Dire Straits. Dire Streets.
No, it's not Dire Straits. And that is our favourite.
Yeah, and
quotes.
we are not a couple of Jamaican fellas, but we do host the Trout.
Yeah, I know. That's so. Yeah, are we being offensive? I don't know.
I don't know.
Still come to lunch with me anyway. Keep paying.
They are some of our favourite quotes. Whatever your favourite quotes are, do send them in spinnerspodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter, spinnerspodcast. And now it is time for our spoilerific XFM and the Community Breakdown, where earlier this week, on the 3rd of November...
2 days ago.
2 days ago from when we were recording. This is Ricky Spat on Twitter, and he publicly, for the first time in actually quite a while, he acknowledged the XFM shows by responding to a tweet. And subsequent to that, there was the removal of all of the shows via all streaming services, mostly Spotify. But I know a lot of people are up in arms. There's proper frenzied anxiety about people not being able to access these shows. And as I said, I've got them on my iPhone downloaded and on a hard drive. And I've posted a tweet to all of the places that you can download them. And I'll make sure they're in the link as well if you can't access the shows for any reason. But my advice would be to anyone: do not count on streaming platforms. Do download them.
Go to one of these sites where you can download stuff on YouTube. That's where you should get it from.
Or get a YouTube converter
But
That's
what
all.
I think you should do, if you've got it there, read out the original tweet that Ricky responded to, his original tweet. You don't have to read every single bit, but if you've got them there, I think that'd be really good to read out.
Well,
to
this
give
is the thing.
context.
So this started with a tweet from someone called Ghoul Castle, and he said, listening through the old podcast, it's actually striking how fucking thick Ricky Gervais is. Carl's extremely poorly educated and has a tendency to say some weird stuff, but 9 out of 10 times it's Ricky playing up Carl's supposed stupidly by willfully misunderstanding, to which Ricky Gervais says, yes, but Carl was in on it. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he knew why I was reacting like that. We weren't like that when we were out to dinner. In fact, on the podcast and audiobooks, we used to edit out bits where Carl laughed because it gave the game away. Thanks for listening.
I appreciate the commentary. I think that's good. A very measured response to that tweet. But bear in mind, there would have been tweets like the one he's responded to. All years on Twitter, people post that. It's so weird. He responded to that
one.
The other day, like to that one. But I think his response was fine. Like I'm totally on board with and his other response, which we get to, I think were very measured.
Absolutely.
Very measured.
This was followed up Grey Furry Cat. Don't know if it is his real name. So Carl Pilkington was a character all along because it would ruin my life. Ricky says. Not at all. He was like that. He simply understood the showbiz element too, and the roles, in inverted commas, we played. He knew I didn't really think he was a moron, and he knew I wasn't really that angry with him. Nothing was scripted. We just knew how to make the funniest podcast possible.
Do you know, that's a perfect explanation of the shows if you had to boil them down. I really think he did well there, Ricky. Like, we have criticised Ricky numerous times, but on that, he did well.
Yeah.
That was good. I agree with him. I agree with the way he responded to that. And that's why it come from, I said, constructive reality. That was my way of explaining it. But
Rick Brown followed up by saying, it's a shame you're letting people see behind the curtain here with the podcasts.
He's wrong. But go on. Sorry, he's
That's all right.
Totally, people like that normally, they don't get it. But the seeing behind the curtain is an integral part of it.
But I think he's probably saying that because he's not an XFM listener at that time.
But I think he probably was, because not the time it went out, but he's clearly a fan of the shows because he's engaging in this discussion. That point of view is ridiculous. And Ricky was never rude at all in any of these offences. And if some people were being rude to him, I'll criticise Ricky all day, but in this he was very measured and very well. He explained things very well.
And Rick says, so many people I know have used these to get through depression and hard times in their life, and for them to think it was all just fake when it seems so real could be a huge disappointment. To which Ricky responds, they weren't fake, but I refuse to let people think I was bullying an idiot savant for entertainment just because they don't understand how producing a comedy podcast works, which I love Ricky for saying that, actually.
Yeah, we're not some Ricky fanboys, are we? I don't want to sound like that. We're really not. Like, listen to our earlier stuff. But here he was, that guy, who everyone knows Monkey News, he doesn't believe it. You know that, but we.
But how would it stop you? It wouldn't stop you from liking the shows to know that.
What's that thing you subvert your reality? What's it called? You know films. What's it called when you? Well, I can't.
Yeah, you suspend your disbelief.
Suspend your disbelief. That's it. We do that. We suspend our disbelief, and we do it knowingly. But it's still funny. It doesn't ruin them. If it ruins them for you, you're weird because you didn't get. You aren't intelligent enough to understand that. Of course, he knew Monkey News isn't real, but it's still funny to believe he's not. But
Yeah.
But sorry, I don't mean stupid. But but you should know that. You should know he knows Monkey News isn't real, and still love it. And still love it anyway.
From your enjoyment of the shows, like, it doesn't matter if it was. I still feel like the core of it was completely authentic. That's the reason why people love these shows, because they scream authenticity, which seems. It's such a buzzword nowadays, like everything is seen through the prism of authenticity, because I feel like as consumers we've all grown this is looking a bit too much into it, but we have like grown a bit distrustful of the media and social media platforms more generally, I believe, and so people crave that authenticity, and it's a buzzword for a reason.
Yeah,
right?
and like even in something like sausages, seriously, like every sausage has a story now, apart from Walls. Like all the new sausages coming out, and this applies across the board. But they have stories. Oh, you see the farmer on the front, you know where the farm it's come from. It's a farmer's story. Like it's a story.
On packaging, you mean?
I don't mean they've got stories like they're doing
I thought you were going to say like a little sausage going. Oh, it's rubbish being a sausage.
They're one above us in the podcast charts. The sausage.
I hate being a wall sausage. I wish I was a
No, but do you know what I mean? They all have stories
Exactly.
and where they came from.
It's that
kind of
marketing.
like-
It's that branding.
Yeah,
because you've grown distrustful of people. You want to know where something's been ethically reared and stuff like that,
This
don't you?
clearly, Carl doesn't have to believe the monkey news for it to be completely real, and it is completely real.
So Connor Allen says, "What about the podcasts?
That is a big grey area. Sorry.
What about before podcasts, XFM shows, totally natural or playing up to the roles?" To which Ricky responds, "Same, but unedited. You're never totally natural when you're on air. You're trying to be entertaining, but our show was certainly more natural than most." Shambles.
That's such a good comment.
And
I
she used the word
couldn't have put
shambles
it-
as well.
Shambles as well. He's brilliant. He knew. Like again, we're not Ricky fanboys, but I'm not certainly not. But that's a perfect response. That's a perfect summing up of the situation. I think. I really, really respect that, Ricky, for that. And it's a good question because on the podcast it's not more. But you're never quite the same on air as you are off air, whether you're trying to be natural or not. And Ricky got that. I just wish he'd done this earlier in his career and on Twitter.
I know, but it's the same. You know, I totally stand by Ricky on that as well, and I completely agree because there is a microphone right in front of you. There is a microphone right in front of us as we're recording this podcast. Clearly, you know, I don't speak like this. I talk more like this. I'm putting on a voice.
I'm a Chinese woman. You know, it's all we're not the same off air. No, we've got a little fake sort of leaf plant
leaf
next to us.
After all of that, and we did actually try to get in contact with Ricky at this point
we did,
because we just really want to say, you know, we'll strike whilst the iron's hot. And we'll ask him, you know, do you want to come on the show and just explain
you could
yourself?
end all this now, end all the confusion now by going on the show. Maybe that's him. I know. It's not him. Sorry.
Maybe that's him again.
Yeah, maybe that's it. No, it's not him again. So yeah, it was but he responded great. He didn't respond to us though, unfortunately.
No, but maybe we'll keep trying. But anyway, this
aside.
led to a massive backlash on social media whereby everyone was getting so frustrated because for some reason, and it seems mysterious and there is a bit of a coincidence or whatever, but all of the shows just disappeared from Spotify and other streaming platforms.
That is, you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all, but that is such a coincidence. But the one reason I believe that Ricky probably wasn't behind it, and you think differently, but is that someone asked him about that specifically, and he responded to that and he said it's nothing to do with me. And I don't genuinely, one thing Ricky isn't, I don't think he'd lie about that. I honestly don't believe he'd lie, because if he was behind it, it would come out.
Well, this is what he said. Daz says on Twitter, "Why have all the XFM shows and XFM podcasts been removed from Spotify? Thousands of us still listen to them daily." And Ricky says, "No idea. I don't even know they were on there. Nothing to do with me." Now,
I believe it.
We did. No, a lot of people said, like, why don't you use clips from the shows in our podcasts? And the reason is I was afraid that we're going to be taken down for copyright infringement.
And it was
which
you.
Is a fair
it wasn't me. Yeah. I was on the wrong end of that
exactly.
debate,
No,
I wanted to use them.
Because I just really...
You're cautious, yeah.
Yeah, I'm cautious and I don't want these shows to be removed because they're for the community and, you know, it's nice that they can exist in isolation, independent of the XFM shows and the podcast. But it is a strikingly sort of coincidence.
It is a coincidence. I can't explain it. But sometimes you are too cautious with things, actually. But that is not an example of one. I was too foolhardy. I would have gone ahead with it. But, you know, because there was our rival was taking some of their time, which we weren't sad about.
We weren't
happy about it.
We did actually contact when we were initially having those discussions. We did talk to Radio X, who we assumed via the the transfer from XFM to Radio X when they did the rebrand. We thought the royalties or the copyright still rested with them.
Yeah, we asked them if we
asked the managing director at that time. We said, or the controller of that station, and they said, you know, from what we gather, the rights are still owned by Ricky. So that is confirmed by them at least. And that's something that...
They weren't 100% sure, were they? So it's not 100% sure, but it seems like if their rights rest with anyone, it's Ricky. Because there's no one else it could be. There was no other company behind that show. It was either XFM or Ricky.
Yeah.
Because it's called The Ricky Gervais Show. I think that's why he has a legal claim to it. If it was called the Funny Hour or something, just something random, he wouldn't have the natural law claim to it, but he does have some sort of claim to it, and I believe he owns them. But I do believe him. I don't believe he would have said that if he had taken them down. But it has caused an uproar. People are linking the two things, and I get that. but I just don't personally think it's linked.
Well, people were trying to get the hashtag Bring Back Carl trending on Twitter, which is lovely. But it does feel like there is a lot of, clearly everyone was in uproar, and quite rightly so, because people do sort of depend on the podcast for various reasons, But
to be fair, right, one thing I'd say is everyone who depends on the podcast for like getting sleep and stuff like that, which I've been in that position, and I still am, but I use something different. I enjoy the podcast, but I listen to them in the day. You should have downloaded them by now. Do you know what I mean? You don't stream them all the time. Just download them. Even if they're on Spotify, you can go to websites and download from Spotify. You can download from YouTube. You're not supposed to be able to, but you can go to naughty sites and download from YouTube. My advice is this: go to YouTube. They're still on there. Download them from YouTube, and you've got them forever.
Yeah.
I don't have Series 1, for example. I only stream that. But
I had to download. I did like YouTube Converter for all of Series 0 just because I couldn't.
It's different. Download Pornhub videos. That's a separate thing. I do know that for a fact. Someone told me.
Yeah, someone told you. So the XFM Appreciation Society on Instagram, who we're sort of regular collaborators with, who are putting on this XFM convention next year.
Yeah.
The RSK convention, which is happening in Manchester, I believe.
Don't advertise that on Reddit, maybe.
So there've been some pretty interesting opinions on there. When he answered that person on Twitter today saying about he didn't have anything to do with it, I'm surprised he didn't say, not sure what happened, but if you need some new content, there is absolutely mental to listen to or Afterlife to watch. It's bizarre how far removed he is from the man he was when The Office broke Series 1 XFM. He was conscious then of appearing different to the typical famous person. That was the driving factor for him. He wanted to appear like the everyman who got a shot. The mate you know who would say, you got to take up stand-up comedy. Now, well, ever since the Golden Globes, he's acted like a fuck stain, which I don't like that.
I'm not
language,
sure I believe. I don't think I wouldn't describe it like that. I think he has been. He never pretended he was like some regular guy. He always played up to the celebrity thing and the arrogance thing, but he did it so well with comedy, and it really worked back in those. Apart from, there's some examples we know of like Lowry discussions where he is a dick, but like. He never tried to be the common man. Like he always was like, I'm a big celebrity. I
bet he was like that before he even wrote it.
And he sort of says with Steve, like, we carved it up early on. Oh, you would not be making sort of money on it. A common man, someone who wants to come across a common man, wouldn't say that. He's kind of joking, but kind of not. And it works during those days. And I don't think he's a completely different person. I think he realises he's got a right wing audience and he plays up to it.
This is continued. Don't want to comment on this post. It's actually heartbreaking how much Ricky has thrown away his ties with everyone. I've listened to the show's podcast, audiobook specials for years, coming up 10 years soon. Getting harder and harder to return out of Ricky's obvious disdain for how they are popular. He's literally only this atheist depressed CUNT shtick, and it's so boring. The shows with the lads were happy and fun, and I think he hates that mix with ego. Sorry for venting, but the Three Lads content is so important to me, it's rare you find others to discuss it with.
No, it's a very heartfelt post, and I believe he believes that. But, you know, we all know it wasn't quite real. It was a bit constructed, but you still enjoy them. But, yeah, I don't think Ricky responded to these. I've criticised him in the past, and I will in the future, but he responded to these quite well, I thought. You know, he hasn't shattered anyone. Did he shatter your dream, Miles? Do you know it's not? We all know Carl didn't quite, you know,
I think
it's
everyone
not quite
knows.
real.
I mean, like, we haven't had a lot of radio experience compared to other presenters out there who host similar podcasts around a similar theme, but like you are very conscious of the fact if there is a conscious thing of like when there is a microphone, of course things are going to change. You can't be the same person. You can't be 100%. You can't be 100% authentic at any time.
You can't even say the word 100%.
You can't even do that.
No, but it's everyone knows like. The monkey news to say, oh, well, he didn't oh my god, he didn't believe it. Oh, well, I'm not going to enjoy it now. Of course you'd enjoy it. You know he doesn't believe. But the first couple, yeah, there's some truth to them, but he doesn't believe it. But we suspend our disbelief. It's a really important thing we do in the show, and we kind of enjoy it just as much. Well, I'm talking as loud as I can, Miles. I'm talking down. I've got my voice down there. Miles keeps going, talk up.
With the hands. You know you can't see that either.
But yeah, that's what I think. Anyway, and how Ricky responded here in general. Have you got any more Ricky responses?
Well, I will say this. You know, on the subject of things being removed, timpotradio.org, which I know a lot of people use to access the shows, they released a statement. So timpotradio.org has been taken down from Spotify for potentially infringing content. The XFM Ricky Gervais show was broadcast on 104.9 FM in the UK between 2001 and 2005, I have asked Spotify about which content is infringing. Spotify took it down because it infringes their terms of service, something that isn't even debatable. You're not allowed to post content you don't own the rights to. If it was a DMCA takeover, then Spotify would have a legal obligation to tell Tim Pot who or what group is responsible, so they can make arrangements to counter the takedown. I think we can take from that there has been some kind of copyright infringement.
Basically,
going on
you
there.
have to for that legal thing, you have to make a claim for something. So someone must have made a claim. You could put as much copyright stuff as you want, but you make a claim. Like Natalie Imbruglia, we posted something with like she made a claim, like, but her company within seconds of it going on. As soon as you make a claim,
Yeah, that was on YouTube.
If no one makes a claim, you can put whatever you want on whatever you want. But as soon as someone makes a claim, so someone must have made a claim. I'm mixed feelings on this because it must have been Ricky in some ways because we know he owns them.
Yeah, but I know there are a lot of
he would have
people.
lied.
Yeah, but I bet there are a lot of people out there who are very defensive of Ricky and go, there are a lot of people, not
Take these down and
Yeah,
what? So like to him, like
yeah,
oh,
no,
you should
defending
take
him
these
because
down.
they want to get on his right side, and they're saying,
the right
you
one.
need to defend yourself and like make sure that you're making money because ethically, because people are making money off your content. So I bet there's some person out there that has just ruined the fun for everyone.
Yeah, I don't believe that Ricky would have been behind it because he like we know, and this is obvious thing to say, but the amount of money he's worth, he doesn't need the few quid he'd get for the podcast being available somewhere on his own site or something. I just don't believe he would have lied. I think he would have said, if he took them down, he would have said, yeah, there's my content.
I just think it's like
to
to me, it's like a stocking filler. We're coming up to Christmas, and I think these are like a little gift to the masses who go, I'm not interested in the podcast that he does now. I haven't listened to Absolutely Mental. I've got no interest in that.
No.
But these are like a gift, essentially. Like I've got The Office on DVD. I've got all the specials and everything, and I would pay. If it suddenly, imagine if all the DVDs in the world went missing, I would pay a good £100 to have those DVDs back.
Yeah, I mean, I'd sell my worthless flat in Liverpool for that. No, but you would. But that's the thing. If you think of it in those terms, as you're just saying, it's interesting you say that because, like, we're actually very lucky to get this for free. Like, it's as good as The Office in a different way, but we're getting this for free, and so we should feel. I'm not saying
feel grateful
about
it.
He should do whatever, but you should feel like kind of lucky that we're getting it for free. Whereas The Office, of course, if you get an Office DVD, unless you're one of those guys homeless people who just said, I've just swiped 9 of these from or whatever from the,
And he went away whistling.
You have to pay for The Office. You should. It's not like therefore you should have to pay for the extra.
But it's an
It's just that we're lucky to get it. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but we're lucky to get it for free. If you think of it, how entertaining it is. If you did put £1 on it, like that wouldn't be unreasonable. Like, but it's.
I
not
would pay
great.
for the XFM shows, and fortunately, it's just because the rules were so different on the media landscape back then, and now things change. But obviously, there is the royalty thing. So everything on Spotify, you do have to. It's either ad protected or if you get an account, they're not making money for it. But now Spotify have moved into the podcasting space where they can advertise and stuff, and it stands to reason. People want to make money off content they produce. Yeah, it's fine. If someone's listening to the Trout Spinners for free, which they are,
Lemons are us, or whatever.
then head over to Patreon and give us some money.
But yeah, that's as blunt as we could put it. No, you do get extra content on Patreon, including my stand-up, which a lot of people don't like. A lot of people have said they don't like it. No, I'm joking.
That's not true.
Well, I didn't think so, but I was only... Like, the fact you were so sympathetic then makes me worry that it is true, ironically. But no, head over to Patreon. Do pay us, $5, that's good, per month.
So that was our XFM, the community chat. If you do have any thoughts, opinions,
That was
criticisms, debates... spinnerspodcast@gmail.com or on the Twitter, Spinners Podcast. I'm also on the Instagrams, Duchess_Pennell. I can't get over how I haven't seen your hands for and they are still so red raw. We have gone through a summer and we are now in winter period. And they are so
they're
coarse.
They're red, yeah, they're coarse. I mean, I can't stroke a chicken without it being quite agitated. So I just can't do that. Do get in touch with, especially this one. I really want to hear your thoughts. I wanted to say that, I really want to hear your thoughts on this particular, because
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think Ricky did take them down. It's a very big coincidence, but I kind of on Ricky's side, but I'm willing to be swayed on that. We'd be interested to hear
I
your
have to
thoughts.
say, it's one of those situations where any bad publicity is good publicity, because I feel like we'll get a few new listeners to this podcast who have just joined us for the first time. So welcome.
Hi.
Nice to have you with us.
got-
And hope you're not switched off by now.
got
But
my
no,
own flat.
it goes to show. And
my own
again,
home.
you know, what I am pleased about, Gary, is just the little community, and it is little, but very, very well-meaning, and we all like
Some
have
of it, but most of it, in fact.
No, but
not
how
all of it.
fortunate we are to be part of this little community of XFM
of our little
followers.
place, yeah.
So loyal, so dedicated, and everyone is so passionate and has such love and opinions about it. And it's great to see. And I've really enjoyed following it all on Twitter myself, actually.
Even
because-
I followed it on Twitter, didn't I?
I mean, yeah, you checked it a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah, and then I went into an argument with some woman, which I shouldn't have done. If you did see my argument with some woman, sorry.
But I do feel I get a lot of gratitude from that.
Yeah, it's
thanks,
nice.
guys.
It's nice. Yeah, we appreciate it because it is. When we say little, we don't mean like to 10 people, but it is small. Like there's a low ceiling, but the ceiling, people under the ceiling are very dedicated. So. Yeah, we're happy to take any of them as fans.
Definitely. And we are going to wrap up today because I am bored
We're going to see
talking
Stephen
to
Fry.
you. We're going to see Stephen Fry, our mate Pete. He's got an outside bar, so I'm deeply excited about that. Yeah, that's right. Don't say that too much. Because we're still recording, love. We're still recording.
I was just talking about our actual plans.
So we're going to put 2 songs into our Trout Spinners library. This is a Spotify library where all royalties are paid for legally and ethically by the correct.
Do we ever get money for this?
We don't get anything. So my song, and I don't know why, I keep re-listening to it this week.
Yeah.
And you just get those songs which just are proper earworms. And I'm going to put in Luna by Bombay Bicycle Club, and there's many reasons for this. The first being Bombay Bicycle Club. I know a lot of people have started uni recently, or probably September now, so not too recently ago. But they were one of the bands. I've always been a fan of them anyway when they released their first album. But they performed the Brighton Centre where we had our Freshers Night or Freshers Week or whatever, and they were the big headline act.
Did they?
Yeah, they were. They're fantastic. And there was a stage invasion, and this was back when they were pretty small, and it was so exciting. And I was there on my own because I didn't have any friends. And I was so sad and lonely. And
no, you weren't.
I weren't. It was all
you
right.
had friends,
But anyway, then I saw
them.
them again soon after at the Brighton Centre, where we are now. So it seems very, very apt because we are in lovely Brighton.
What,
by
is
the
in this
seaside.
pub?
Not in the,
Oh,
obviously.
Brighton Centre.
Right,
Yeah.
So anyway, they performed again at Brighton Dome, and once they'd finished the gig and we walked out in the streets, the band were outside with acoustic guitars doing like
Bloody hell,
they were literally busking. Yeah, but this was at the very start of their career. But I just remember thinking this is such a strong musical memory for me, thinking like this is amazing. We're seeing a band that are quite big now, and that song has got Lucy Rose vocals on, who I'm also a massive fan of.
Yeah.
So
Lucy Rose. You told me to download.
Yeah, she's
Lucy
really
Rose
good.
ones,
Honestly,
yeah.
She's a very beautiful artist.
We don't.
I didn't say that in that way.
Don't objectify her,
I didn't objectify anyone.
Yeah.
So that is my song for this week, and it's a brilliant song. So I do recommend
God, that's
checking
so
it out.
heartfelt. I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to say a couple of words.
Birdie
to get the
song, wasn't
out.
it?
No, I've got Sugar Babes About You Now. It's their best song. Really good song, Sugar Babes. Sugar Babes are all right, and they had this joke like everyone's done an internship like in Sugar Babes, like every part.
And the little black one from Sugar Babes.
Don't say that, especially not out loud here. No, it's a great song. About You Now.
Yeah.
And I know how I feel about you now. It's quite.
And Gary, now you know how I feel about you now. I was willing to spend. How much was it to get down here? It was about 28 quid.
John, just paid you 29. I have actually paid
Can I get the return
29
money?
quid.
Okay, I'll expect the money from my return on my train line ticket. There was no plugs on the train as well. Can I just say that?
No
Which I'm
butt plugs?
absolutely fucking livid. I'm calling about your electric plugs,
No,
mate.
Because you need to take the Victoria, the Gatwick Express.
that
You don't
one,
want
is
to come from London.
Why are there cheap lines anyway? Anyway, doesn't matter.
Like,
I think we should head off now. It's been a joy having your company with us as always, listeners. Please do stay in touch with us in all the regular ways. spinnerspodcast@gmail.com or spinnerspodcast on the Twitter.
Absolutely, and it has been a pleasure because we've been together. You know, we're not often together. You know, it's all right looking at your face, you know, but without a screen in between, you know.
I know.
I mean,
We'll have to do it more
I wouldn't want it all
regularly.
the time. Yeah, we will. Yeah, well, every year we'll do one. No, we'll do, probably every couple of months we'll do one. But obviously, you know, we usually
Things
do it
being the way they are.
remotely. But yes, let us know your thoughts, particularly on the XFM in the community, because it's a hot topic, as
Hot
Alan
toz.
Partridge said. And other than that, we will see you next show.
Goodbye.